What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dakota. This is Flatline.Nation. Today we are back on the Z and we are working on the fuel system. We're only one more video away from starting it, so make sure you do the stuff. Today's video is all about fluid delivery. So like usual, I've got everything laid out. We're going to put a clutch master in the car. We're going to put fuel system in the car. I've been kind of just working on little things off camera. One cool thing that I've been finding is the S30 community is really good about sharing things. This hose right here is from an 01 to 07 Dodge Caravan, and it fits right up. I had to cut about 2 inches off the end. That was it. Bolts right up. Lower radiator hose fits perfect. It's like this car was meant for an LS. I want to get this clutch done first. Another cool thing, this is a master out of a 80 to 86 Jeep CJ7. It's a 7/8 diameter piston in there, which is perfect for a T56 or a TR6060 like I'm running. And it has the same dimensions as the original master cylinder, so it'll bolt right up into there. Just one thing I have to modify on it. So if you notice, the actual fork or push rod, whatever you want to call it, is different between the two. I've already got this one popped out. It's just held in there with a little retainer clip, like you can see right there. So I'm going to pop that little retainer clip out. Just like that. The next problem is the dimension of the washer that holds the rod in is different. On the stock one, you can just pull the end right off and you can get this little washer out of there. On this one, we're going to have to cut it. So let's do that real quick. Just like that. Got the washer out of there. That's all we need from this whole thing. Slide the new one on. Alright, with that all back together, it's our new rod. We can push this back into there, and all we have to do is put the clip, the little retainer clip back in there, and voila! There you have it. A replacement clutch that'll bolt right into your S30 chassis, and powerful enough to move the clutch on your LS power plant. This should slide right into here, like so. There you have it. As far as plumbing your master, I've got this 4AN that goes down to the transmission. And then if you get one of these, which is actually a turbo restrictor that I'll drill out so it's the same size all the way through. It's an 11 mil by 1 fine thread, and then 4AN on the other side. That'll screw right into the master. The clutch line will screw right into that, and we should have a clutch. We'll find out in a second. What a contraption I got going on here. So glad I got this TIC Performance remote bleeder. I don't know what was going on, if there was just something clogged in one of the lines or if the slave cylinder was clogged up, but I had to literally put pressure on the Mighty Vac and then pump the pedal, and then finally I got fluid through the system and I have a firm pedal, so we're good to go. That's all done. Clutch is working good. At least I think it's working good. We won't know until we start it up and see if it disengages the clutch. On to fuel delivery. Probably one of the most important things you'd have in a car, at least to make it run. So what we have going on is PTFE hose. This is conductive hose. There's a difference. I learned that when putting together this system, that there's conductive and non-conductive hose. Non-conductive could possibly cause fires. Probably not, but I went for the safer stuff. This was a little more expensive. This is 6AN, everything's 6AN. Starting from the back, the car's already set up for this fuel cell. The guy just didn't give it to me, so I bought the same exact one off Amazon. It was like 80 bucks. So we have fuel cell, then we have 8AN to 6AN, 90s coming out, so we have a feed and a return. I am going to be using the Corvette reg and filter all in one combo with AN lines. So one side is the feed, one side is the return. That'll go back into there. We'll just have a really short run of it. And then connecting the two, we have another piece there to connect to a Bosch 044 fuel pump. This should be good for like 600 horsepower, I believe. I believe Matt Happel's run a few cars on this pump, turbo cars, so this should be more than enough for NA power. Some dash 6 lines to adapt to the Bosch 044, and then just some cheap China mount that we'll use to mount the pump to somewhere in the car. So then we'll run all the way up to the front of the engine. We'll put a 90 right about there for when I decide to change the fuel system and I want to put a regulator in. I can just tap in right over in this area. Then a short run to another AN line, and then to this GM quick connect to 6 AN will pop right onto the intake. So let's get to mounting the cell in, cutting some line, putting some fittings on, throwing it all in the car, and then we're on to wiring. Okay, fuel cell is in. Let me be the first to say, I'm not a huge fan of this fuel cell. If it was me, I'd rather have the stock gas tank and retrofit that for EFI. I think this thing hangs down way too low and it's kind of dangerous. I also don't like how everything is inside of the hatch because I'd like to use this area. So eventually this will get changed and I'll go to a slimmer setup, and I'll also do a rear gas fill. So the gas door will be right here. You'll flip the license plate down, kind of like old school muscle cars. Be a nice clean look, since my car has already had the gas door shaved off, so that's not really an option for me. But this is what's in here. I'm going to make this work for now, so let's move up to the front. I went ahead and already put one of the fittings on because I have never done this before, so I wanted to make sure I knew what the heck I was doing. I'm going to take this and I'm going to feed it down behind the firewall there, run it all the way back and mount it underneath the car. I'm not going to show you any of this because it's really hard to show you guys anything underneath the car. And then once this is all the way to the back, I'll be able to cut this off and then start making my smaller lines back there. Got this line all routed up. I was going to originally put that here and then do another short line that way, but I think I'm just going to leave this a little long, and then in the future if I add a fuel pressure regulator up front, I'll just cut the line and add it up here and then just keep this long. I'll kind of tuck that down in there. Gotta make sure I keep everything away from the headers and exhaust. As far as under here, just kind of loops through. I've got it clipped in all the factory locations, going all the way back. The line comes out and through here. So now we need to get our fuel pump and the regulator all mounted together and up in here, so I know where to cut this line and add a fitting to the back. but they're in there. I left everything kind of long just in case I need to move anything, or if one of the fittings leak, I can cut it off and add a new end. This is the first time I've ever done any PTFE line like this. I'm gonna have to pull the slack out of here. I don't want this to be dangling next to the tire. That would be bad, but you can kind of see how I have the pump and the filter. I need to make a bracket that'll actually bolt into the frame right here to hold everything in place. That should work. I did want to mention, I know I have to put a vent in, so one of these has to come off, and then I need to put some sort of venting out of the tank. Otherwise, when you start to pull fuel out of the tank, it's going to pressurize or pull a vacuum on the tank, and you're going to run into issues. So you need to have some kind of vent on the tank so the tank can breathe and the fluid can go down correctly and keep your pressure flowing. So far I'm really happy with the fuel system, how it's come out. One thing I've noticed is these cheaper fittings, they don't go together as nicely as like the more expensive Vibrant ones. The little copper piece or the aluminum piece that actually presses onto the hose makes it really hard with these cheap ones to press on. The Vibrant ones seem to just kind of pop right in and they feel really good. So in the future, I'm gonna opt for some better fittings. These guys were just laying around my garage, so I mean, who's gonna turn down free fittings? I mean, when these things are like $10 to $20 a piece. Hey guys, so my GoPro went corrupt and I lost all the footage after this part, but right here I noticed I plumbed the system completely backwards. That is the regulator before the fuel pump, which does not work. So I had to order a bunch of fittings and waited a week, but we'll cut to the next clip here where I got all my new fittings in and we are good to go now. Rookie mistake, and I'm sure some of you already noticed it. Looky here, I got all my fittings in, so I ended up using the 3/8 quick connect I was going to do on the intake on the back because it's a 90, and then adapting it just to a double female. And then I used I think it's 5/16 that comes on the return side of this, and then a T-piece. That way it gets it spaced out from one another and you can connect it together and tighten it up. I had to get a straight because I planned this all wrong, and obviously I put the regulator behind the pump. Speaking of the pump, I've got that up in there. It's mounted to the bracket, and then it's also mounted to this, it's like a 3/8 aluminum plate. So really sturdy, not going to go anywhere. And then if you can see up in there, I actually drilled and tapped all the holes. So this is threaded straight into the aluminum plate, which makes it really easy to service. There's no having to put a wrench on the other side for the bolts. You just unscrew it, screw it back in. Super easy to deal with. But this will go up in here. I'll bolt that together. I need to get a little spacer for right here and a longer bolt because I don't have a bolt for that hole. But that should put everything in place. Nothing's gonna move around. Nothing should leak, move, break. On the rail, I just got another 3/8 straight and then used the 90 that I had here, just because this works and these fittings add up really, really fast. And for right now, this is all I need to get the car running. Speaking of running, as you can see, I got this stuff all TIG welded up. Matt let me use his TIG welder again. Huge shout out to Matt for letting me use that. I absolutely love TIG welding now and I really want to get one. But waiting for this to dry, I'm just putting some high temp primer on there, and then I'm going to blast it with like the $4 grill paint. I've used that on a few exhausts before and it works really good. So painting all that up, gonna throw that on the car. Sorry it's really dark in the garage right now, can't help it. It's the only time I have to work in the car right now. But this is all done. Fuel system is done and we are ready to move on to wiring everything up, cleaning everything up. And in the next video, we're gonna install the Holley Terminator X, we're gonna turn the key, and we're gonna start this car. And you're gonna hear V8 noises out of a 74 Datsun that hasn't run in at least a decade. I'm so excited, and I will for sure do a burnout if this thing moves out of the garage. So make sure you guys do all this stuff. We will see you next time. Hope you learned something. Good night. Woohoo!